Right? It's a great visual here. Isn't this just freaking amazing? It's so much bigger than my television. I'm sure someone's gonna be like, but it's not good. I have a much better one. It costs $27,000 and it's on my $100,000 6-foot screen. Now, this is the world's first 4K laser that has Google TV with licensed Netflix. That told me they were probably gonna make a good product. Like, it has a dedicated Prime Video, Netflix, and YouTube button on the controller. Kind of think of this thing as like a serious upgrade for anyone who wants to start dabbling in home theater, but they don't want like the bulk of the traditional setup or anything. We just set this in one of the bar stools here, and it was all cattywampus because of the padding, but I'm gonna put it on a TV tray today. Eventually I'll get some sort of stand or something for this, or maybe even mount it to the ceiling. I don't know. Like, now I want to get a screen because this looks so good on the wall. I want to see what it actually looks like on a screen. Mars Pro 2 is what this is also called on their website. It does have an aluminum frame, has a glass top. It looks really nice and modern. It's about 8.8 pounds. It's got a little bit of weight, but it's not too bad. We're looking at the back here, and you have your LAN port. If you don't want to use the Wi-Fi, it does have Wi-Fi though. I wasn't having any trouble whatsoever with the Wi-Fi we have. You have your DC jack, you have an HDMI, you have an HDMI with eARC, you have 2 USBs, and then you have your headphone jack. You also have the SPDIF. Now, this does have a 2450 ISO lumen, so it's one of the brightest projectors in its class. Handles daylight or bright rooms surprisingly well. Even with the lights on, it was better than like any projector I've ever seen used anywhere outside of a movie theater. I don't know people that have like professional projectors at home and stuff, but it looked pretty good. Once the lights were off, it looked freaking amazing, and the sun was still up. Right now it's still dark, so I'm hoping we get a little bit better results for the filming. Even with sunlight coming in this door over here, like it still looked really, really good. Now, it is true 4K UHD. It's 3840 by 2160 on the resolution. HDR10 plus, HDR10 and HLG support, so you can get like deep contrast, vivid colors and everything. It has a 10-bit color depth with 1.07 billion colors. Billion. It has a bunch of app options because it's running Google TV, so it had like native Netflix, YouTube, Prime, Hulu, Disney, a bunch of others. Those are the ones I put on there. It also even had like YouTube music and stuff. Now, it does have built-in Chromecast and air screen, so I can just, cast to it from my phone. It's really nice. It'll do up to a 200-inch screen size, but they have the sweet spot in the manual about 80 to 120 inches for the best brightness and clarity. We were actually a little bit under 80 inches on the wall. I measured it out. It's like 4 feet 8 inches is what it wants you to do or something for optimal, and we were at like 4'4". It has still looked freaking amazing. It supposedly does do 3D support with Blu-ray 3D via HDMI after you do an OTA update. I don't have any 3D stuff, so I can't test that. But I will say right out of the box, it did have an update. And I appreciate that because that means they're supporting this. If there's updates, and it was like a gig update, that gives me confidence. Now, I will say on the setup, because of that update and then installing the Netflix and the Hulu and the Amazon and all that stuff, it probably took 30, 35 minutes. I don't think you're going to take this straight out of the box the first time and like start watching a movie in a couple of minutes. Like, you're going to have to do the updates. You're going to have to install the apps. You're going to have to set it up and everything. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but it wasn't anything excessive. Kind of hung out while it did its thing. And then we started watching it. It does have dual 12-watt speakers. They're here on the sides, I believe. You also have some pretty good ventilation and stuff. They do claim that the laser light source, 30,000 hours. So that's like 20 years at 4 hours a day or something. It's about 150 watts, give or take. So it's using less power than a bulb model, since this does have the laser, not the bulb. They did go about making sure this was mercury free when they made it, so it's kind of, eco-friendly or whatever. It does have an AI brightness adjustment, and it has eye protection modes. It has an autofocus that I found worked really well, but you can go in and manually focus it more. I didn't mess with that. I probably wouldn't be able to tell a difference. It's really quiet too. I can actually hear my SSD NAS that's hooked up to the TV over there. When this is on, it is so quiet. Like, that NAS is ridiculously loud, and I wish it was as quiet as this thing. I was surprised at how quiet this was, actually. If your room's like dead quiet, you're gonna hear the fan, but once you get the movie going or whatever, not that big of a deal. Let's get this thing hooked up. So here it's doing its little test deal. I think this is kind of how it does the focus and everything. I'm not exactly sure, but I assume that's what this test pattern is. I will say it's gonna be a little crooked, and that's not the fault of this thing. We live in teacher housing on the Navajo reservation, And there's not a level surface in this house. You know, I could always shim it up with like a piece of cardboard or something, but you can already see it looks pretty dang good. And I'm going to come over here to kind of give you an idea of just how big that is. Like, this is again just on that like drywall. If it's really bright, you can see some imperfections in here because it has more of the stucco effect on the wall, which again, it's just a weird thing here. They don't like try to make it smooth, but at least it's not textured like the ceiling is. It just looks amazing. Let me pull up something on YouTube. We'll start with one of my videos here. And again, we're just gonna come in here and it sees it. It's the DBOX02. But you kind of saw the apps out there. I had like Amazon Prime and all that stuff installed. That's just comes native on the projector. During setup, you get to pick which ones you want if you don't want to install them all. We'll do it with this 3D printer that I've been working on. I have just finished setting up this 85X from flash. And like I said, this has amazing speakers. The screen here actually comes attached here and it's facing inwards. You remove the two screws. Like, how great is that? Let me turn the volume down. It just pops right on there. You can easily take it off. Because I'm going to play some other stuff and I don't necessarily want a copyright strike. But if we're just showing the video for a couple seconds, it shouldn't be too bad. So like, there's that. But like, that's just amazing. Oh, good. I'm not wearing the exact same thing. Mostly the same thing. I don't know. There's something about this. But yeah, you can see like a little imperfection in the wall there. But from a distance, you don't really notice. And again, eventually I would like to get a screen for this. And as I said, you know, the whole house slopes down this way. So it's not quite level. I could go in and adjust that. Just, I don't really care for the purpose of this video. You guys kind of get the idea. This thing is just so amazing. So let me go ahead and pull up a Mandelbrot. So this is a Mandelbrot zoom. This is math, but it's a great visual here. So you walk over here. Again, I can see the imperfections in the bright areas, not so much from over there, but isn't this just freaking amazing? Like, oh. So I don't exactly understand Mandelbrot's, but it's basically an infinite zoom thing and the math actually generates this. It's pretty cool. Got real into these about 2018, 2019. So this one was a world record attempt. It's pretty good. And again, that's just like, it's so much bigger than my television. Oh, I could just sit here and watch this forever. Anyway, I'm going to turn the light on and we'll take a look at how well it performs in some amount of lighting here. So as you can see, even with 6 can lights on in the other room, it looks a little washed out on the camera, but in person, you can't really tell a difference. As you can see here on me, it's like quite a bit brighter, but right? Like, I love this thing. You guys are going to like it. Yeah. I'm sure someone's going to be like, but it's not good. I have a much better one. It costs $27,000 and it's on my $100,000 6-foot screen. That's not what this is for. This is for someone that just wants a little cool home theater. And if you have a big wall and it's white and not textured severely, you're going to be fine. I cannot think of a better use for this wall. My wife and I are excited to watch a movie on this soon. We'll move our recliners from there over to here just to watch the movie, and we'll have the projector in front of us and we'll watch a nice little movie. I'll get it a little more even, maybe shim it up or adjust it in the software, but I really, really like this thing. I hope you guys are into this kind of thing. I just thought I'd throw this on here, and yeah, there's just, that is so beautiful. Mandelbrot's are the greatest thing ever. I'll see you guys in the next video.